Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me, and thank you as always for your continued support. So today I've got another distressing story for you, really. So I'm going to issue a trigger warning because it is going to have certain things in it that may be very upsetting for some people. I don't try to upset people, it's just something that I feel these stories need to be shared, and so if you can share this video to as many people as possible, share it to the people in the government to show them that, that what they're doing is likely to get a lot worse, judging by this particular story. The reason I chose this one is because it's a complete failure from beginning to end. It's a complete failure, and it shouldn't have happened to this person. This person was trying their best to do the right thing, and ended up sadly taking their own life. So I'm going to read this story out to you guys. Let's take a look at it, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is in the Disability News Service. I recommend you go over and check these guys out because they are very good. DWP helped cause mental distress of poverty-stricken benefit claimant who took her own life, says the coroner. An inquest in Stockport has found that DWP's actions were one of the factors that contributed to the decline in the mental health of 31-year-old Chrissy Hunt before she took her own life on the 23rd of November 2023. By the time she passed away, she was underweight, had almost no food left in her flat, and was not due to be paid for another 5 days. Her family have now warned the Labour government that its planned cuts of billions of pounds to spending on disability benefits will cause further such tragedies by placing similar intense levels of pressure on disabled claimants with significant levels of mental ill health. The inquest had originally due to take place last June, for just 3 hours, but Chris's family asked the coroner to take a detailed look at the actions of the DWP, other local agencies and her workplace, and it was twice adjourned until a 3-day inquest finally took place last week. The inquest in Greater Manchester had heard that Chrissy, who had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was claiming both personal independence payment and employment support allowance, and had not worked for 13 years. But she started working less than 15 hours a week as a fundraiser under DWP's permitted work system, which allows people on ESA to work 16 hours and earn a maximum of £167 a week while still receiving their out-of-work benefits. On 26th of June, she informed the ESA that she had started work and would not work more than 16 hours a week. The next day, HM Revenue and Customs told DWP's anti-fraud team that she had started a job. The anti-fraud team assumed that she had not informed DWP because a call to the ESA team had not been recorded properly. The ESA team then sent her a letter about alleged fraud and permitted work form to complete within 14 days. The following month, the DWP anti-fraud team analysed information which mistakenly showed she had earned above the permitted work limit. She was fined £50 for failing to inform the DWP she started to work, and she was told she now had been overpaid by £149. Chrissy was repeatedly told by the DWP that she needed to repay the ESA overpayment and the £50 fine. DWP then told her local council that her ESA had been stopped for a week. The council wrongly concluded that her ESA had stopped entirely and told her that she had owed £828 in housing benefit. DWP errors and her mounting debts led to her mental health spiralling downward as she repeatedly tried to resolve the disputes and clear her debts. She made repeated calls to DWP to try and resolve the errors without success. In a final call to DWP, which a relative was listened to and which was discussed during the inquest, Chrissy was clearly in distress, but DWP agreed that its telephone agent failed to check on her welfare. By now, Chrissy had taken a full-time, high-pressure job at a care home, working 12-hour shifts with 2 hours travel a day, which her family believe may have been an attempt to clear her debts. Her family say the physical demands of the job, including an accident at work in which her laptop was stolen, leading to a work meeting the day before her passing, led to her becoming increasingly unwell. She then took her own life less than 2 months after starting the job. Her friends and family described her as bright, vivacious young woman who cared deeply about other people and who aspired to be a nurse. Her family's own circumstances, including her stepfather's wife, Jenny Burrow, having long COVID, meant that they had not been able to keep as close an eye on Chris's life as they had wanted to. At the inquest, DWP accepted that the £50 charge should never have been issued, and the overpayment should have been rescinded because her average income over a 5-week period was within the rules, even without the error in calculating how much she had earned. The coroner, Andrew Bridgman, found the DWP's failures contributed to the decline in Chris's mental health, along with other factors including harassment from her neighbour and the strain of being back in full-time work with an intense shift pattern. But the coroner said it was not possible to say whether these factors contributed to her decision to take her own life. Inquest also heard that Chris's PIP claim was being reviewed and that she had been twice unable to attend assessments on the 16th and 22nd of November because of a new job. She had been told that unless she attended a reassessment, her PIP would be stopped. Although the coroner did not include this as one of the factors that impacted her mental health, her family believed it had done so. DWP did not rescind the fine and the overpayment until July 24, 8 months after her passing, and only after her family had requested a mandatory reconsideration and a review into the department's actions. I'm not going to go any further, obviously, because I want you to read the article because it's good for the website for you to read the article in its entirety too. So I'll put a link to the article in the comments section and in the description below. Right, now, so for me, this is a complete catalogue of errors, and it highlights a number of things which the government are trying to push, which actually failed this young lady. First of all, the fact that she was actually trying to work. She was working the hours that she was allowed to work and the money that she was allowed to work, and yet they didn't record it properly. HMRC and the DWP fraud unit became involved. Now, the government has said repeatedly that these things are going to be quality checked and there's going to be a human person at every stage. This has already happened. The DWP have already failed. Their fraud unit have already failed this time and many times, I'm sure. So how can we now trust the fact that they're not going to just spy on people's bank accounts through error? Because they've already done this through error. The other thing that gets me is the fact that there's a complete lack of understanding right the way across the line. Now, I know it's not the DW's fault that the council stopped her housing benefit or charged her for her housing benefit, but if they hadn't done the initial failure, it wouldn't have got as far as it had. And also the fact that this person now felt they had to do a full-time job to pay back their debt led to a spiralling downward of their mental health. Now, the government's telling us now that they want people to go back to work, and they're telling people that if you have mental health conditions, you can work. So we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more people with serious mental health problems being forced into work, seeing a spiral in their mental health, and we could well see other outcomes like this in the future. So it's absolute catalogue of errors, and it really is absolutely beyond belief. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about this. I know it's not a very nice thing to talk about, but please do let me know down in the comment section what you think. I have got some very interesting emails from people. Thank you to everyone who's emailed me. I really do appreciate it. Some personal stories that people who are going to allow me to talk about, so I'm going to be doing that in a future video very soon. So please do subscribe if you want to continue seeing these types of videos, and if you've got this far. And thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you next time.